How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is Deck Ready, my channel all about the Steam Deck and other gaming handhelds. Anyway, in today's video, I've got 3 topics to cover. The first one is a really cool button mod that you can do for your Steam Deck right now, and it's actually pretty affordable. The second one is that unfortunately, Forza Horizon is being delisted from the Microsoft Store and the Steam Store, and if you buy it, it's actually kind of tricky to get it up and running on the Steam Deck, but I'm gonna tell you the easiest way to do it, and it's worth it. And finally, here's a cool way to turn your gaming PC into a Steam Deck. All right, let's jump into this first news story here, which is all about a really cool button mod for the Steam Deck. So this company is called Colored Controllers, and they've been around for a minute in the Steam Deck ecosystem. Basically what they do is offer button replacements for your Steam Deck that give you some color options to kind of, add a little bit of spice to your Steam Deck. Because if you grab a regular edition, not the limited one that's not available anymore, the thing's just a black hunk of plastic and metal. And I love black electronics. I love a low profile, sleek black look, but you want to add some personality, some color to your Steam Deck. This is a great way to do it. And I think I'm going to grab a set of these because the one that they're promoting right now is a full set of buttons that will turn your Steam Deck into a throwback to the original Game Boy. I know people don't love when YouTubers go into stories, but like the Game Boy is very special to me because when I was growing up, I was bullied a lot in school, and my favorite thing to do every week was get picked up by my grandpa and we'd go to Wendy's for lunch, and it was awesome. My grandpa was like my best friend in elementary school, and one of the coolest things he ever did for me was he pulled out a new in-box original Game Boy that came with the link cable and the game Tetris, and I played so much Tetris. And then for my birthday that year, he bought me Pokemon Red, which was my favorite game. I played it so much. I then got Pokemon Yellow from him. He was the best grandpa ever, and I was on the swim team. So between events at the swim team, you'd basically hang out around the pool, and I would just play so much Pokemon Yellow, and that was all thanks to my grandpa buying me a Game Boy. And I've always loved that colorway of the gray with the pink buttons and the dark gray D-pad. And what these buttons do is basically turn your Steam Deck into the colorway of the Game Boy. Now, it's not going to make your shell the right color, but you do get the pink face buttons, which is awesome. You also get the D-pad with the textured finish on it that you had on the original Game Boy. And the coolest touch is that the start and select buttons they give you say Gabe Boy. So like Gabe Newell from Valve. It's like a cool shout out to him because you're essentially turning your Steam Deck into a Game Boy. And I think this is awesome. Obviously, there's a lot of nostalgia at play here because of my story about my grandpa, but like, I just think this looks legitimately cool. I still have a launch Steam Deck that has no mods done on it outside of upgrading the SSD. And while I don't think these buttons would look all that great on my limited edition OLED, I think I'm going to pick these up just as like, I don't know, a weird, stupid little tribute to my grandpa and the nostalgia that I have there, because this is just legitimately cool to me because that was my very first handheld console and it unlocked this whole world of gaming for me. And without that Game Boy, I'm pretty positive I would not have this channel now, which is one of my favorite things to work on. So shout out to my grandpa. He's no longer with us. I miss him every day. If you want to pick these up, it's $60, which is the price of a full price game. And you've probably been saving a lot of money this week because of the Steam summer sale. So you probably got a little bit of money left over to pick these up. I don't think the price is egregious at all. And they also have a custom Gabe Boy Steam Deck boot video that you can download for free. And those are super easy to install. So if you really want to go the extra mile and truly convert your Steam Deck into a throwback classic Game Boy, they're giving you all the tools to do it. And if you buy these buttons, you get the intro for free. And I'm pretty sure you don't even have to buy the buttons. I'm probably going to go download it right after I finish this video. I'm using the limited edition OLED one now that's like orange and it like spells out the Steam Deck logo. I'm getting a little sick of it. I think I need this Gabe Boy intro to bring me back to my childhood of playing Pokemon Yellow around the local pool. Anyway, that brings us to the second news story here, which is all about Forza Horizon 4. You guys know I love racing games. I talk about Burnout Paradise Remastered. I talk about Hot Pursuit Remastered, but my true favorite open world racing game is Forza Horizon. I have been an adopter of Forza Horizon, an evangelist of this series since the very first game. I had a PS3 in college. It was senior year, and there was like Gran Turismo, right? I love Gran Turismo, but when it came to open world racing games, that very first trailer for Forza Horizon 1 made me go trade in a bunch of games on Black Friday and pick up a Xbox 360 Slim and Forza Horizon 1, and I was absolutely sold on the franchise from that point. I've played every game for hundreds of hours. I use a racing wheel with Forza Horizon 5 right now. They just added the Mustang Dark Horse. I absolutely love it, but out of all the games, my favorite one on the entire list is Forza Horizon 4. It has by far the best map of the entire franchise. It's the only one that I think is legitimately better than the Colorado map that they had in the first game, and there's this really cool feature where, every week the season in the game changes, like of the map, so it's like winter, fall, spring, summer, and the fall setting is absolutely phenomenal. I love fall. I love Halloween. October is my favorite month of the year. And when the seasons line up and I'm driving a McLaren down the road in UK while leaves are falling and going under the wheels and like around the car, it's like the closest thing that I can get to doing it in real life. So it was really special to me when I lived in Los Angeles because they don't have fall there. So I would get my fall fix of driving my Challenger down the road here in Michigan, which I can thankfully do now by playing this game. And it's just such a phenomenal experience. So when they announced they're delisting it over at Microsoft, I was pretty bummed. It basically comes down to licensing for the cars and music. They don't renew the licenses. They just kill the game and say, oh, go play Forza Horizon 5 or Forza Motorsport. I wish they would just pay for the licensing, but the game is being delisted from stores. Thankfully, if you have the game on Game Pass and you've ever bought DLC for it, they're actually messaging people full Xbox and PC codes for the game, so then you'll own it forever, even once it's delisted. And on Steam right now, it's at a dirt cheap price because there's a sale because they're delisting it, and then there's even more discounts because of the Steam summer sale. So this game is very cheap. And for someone who complains a lot about how poorly Forza Horizon 5, for someone who complains a lot about how crappy Forza Horizon 5 runs on the Steam Deck, Forza Horizon 4 does not look worse in any way, and it runs so much better. Like, you can get a locked experience without any stuttering, and if you downloaded the game, you probably realize that it's a little bit tricky to set up, so here is the full tutorial. So once you download the game, get it fully installed on your Steam Deck, what you have to do is head over to desktop mode, right? You have to launch the game in desktop mode like so many other Steam Deck games, but once you start the game up, you're going to be met with an issue. That issue is logging into the Microsoft live service thing, so you'll have to have an Xbox account. On Forza Horizon 5, you can do that in game mode. You can just use the touchscreen and pull up the keyboard. In this game, for some reason, the keyboard just never comes up. So I've seen a lot of tutorials saying that you need to get either a Bluetooth or USB keyboard and mouse to do this. That is not the case. So once the game is running, it launches for the first time in desktop mode in windowed mode, which makes this a lot more useful. You're going to open up the Discover store. You're going to go to accessibility, and then there's an app called Core Keyboard. You're going to download that, and then it just installs as a normal app. So you'll go hit the start button and then go to all applications, go down to Core Keyboard and open that up, and then go back into Forza Horizon 4 while the keyboard is open, and you will find that if you hold the Steam button and use the mouse, like the actual trackpad mouse, you'll be able to select the text field, and then that Core Keyboard on-screen keyboard will work just fine. So you log in to your Microsoft account, and that's one step of the problem out of the way. You're logged in, you're good for the foreseeable future. After you're past that initial login window, you're going to go into the settings and you're going to change it from full screen to windowed mode. That is super important because even though you're logged in, if you switch back to game mode and try to boot the game up, you'll be met with a black screen. You'll hear the sounds in the background, but because it's in full screen and it's technically the wrong resolution, it won't work. There's no way to do it unless, again, you plug in a keyboard and hit Alt-Enter to bring it out of full screen. So once you switch it to windowed mode, it will save. You'll be all good there. Then you're going to want to change the resolution to 1280 by 800. It won't actually fill up the Steam Deck screen, but that also helps with compatibility. And the last important step that you're going to need to do is leave it at your monitor's refresh rate. So on the Steam Deck OLED, that's 90 Hertz. On the original Steam Deck, or the LCD as they call it now, that is 60 Hertz. You're not going to be playing the game at that frame rate. I'll talk about that next, but you need to have it internally running at the highest frame rate possible. And unlike Forza Horizon 5, you can use the dynamic high settings and get a 50 to 60 FPS experience, but there's a big problem with Forza Horizon games when you're driving around the open world map. As the next chunk of the map loads in, you'll always see a big 1 second stutter, and for me personally, that makes the game unplayable. I'll just go play it on my ROG Ally or on my gaming PC, but I've learned with Forza Horizon 4, unlike 5, if you limit it to 30 FPS, that 100% gets rid of all the stuttering. The dynamic high settings look absolutely phenomenal. So while yes, most racing games are better at 60 FPS, I prefer a consistent experience out of my Steam Deck games, and getting a consistent experience with 30 FPS is much better than getting stuttering at 50 to 60, you know? Like, that's just me. If you want to play with stuttering, or you don't mind those 1 second stutters when you're loading through the map, it's fine to play it at 50 or 60, but yeah, for me personally, the best looking and playing experience is at that locked 30 frames per second. If you set it in game to 30 FPS, you'll get the stuttering. I don't know why. It might be because it's internally capping and it just doesn't work. So you should run it at the highest refresh rate possible, which is 60 or 90, and then limit it with the Steam Deck's quick access menu to 30 FPS. You will be good to go. And unlike newer racing games like the Crew Motorfest or the Crew 2 or the Crew or X, Y, and Z, like the EA games I always talk about that require you to be online, you can actually play Forza Horizon fully solo, and it's a great experience. Everything in this game is much better better, in my opinion, than Forza Horizon 5, including the map, including the showcases, including just the way the cars feel. They did make a lot of improvements with the steering wheel for Forza Horizon 5, but when you're playing with the Steam Deck controller, especially at 30 FPS, I don't know why. I feel like Forza Horizon 4 controls a lot better. And that brings us to the third news story here, which is a cool way to turn your PC into a Steam Deck. So there are actually a ton of different sources out there now, between like Holo ISO and the one we're talking about today, Bazzite, that allow you to turn your ROG Ally, your Lenovo Legion Go, or your main gaming PC into a Steam Deck by being an unofficial version of SteamOS. Because as we all know, Valve is continuing to drag their feet on fully releasing SteamOS, at which point it will become available on regular gaming PCs and other handheld gaming platforms. But up until now, it's been really difficult to do this if you have an NVIDIA graphics card. Bazzite has kind of been at the front of the pack compared to all the other different options you have, but it's never been at the point where I would really want to make a partition on my main gaming PC and try to mess around with it, because you run into issues when you're using NVIDIA drivers with Linux. I don't know why, that's just how these things go. But the new update for Bazzite has made available NVIDIA drivers that bring along Wayland, so you'll get much better performance, and it opens up a lot of compatibility with a lot of different NVIDIA cards. So people who are still on like the 3080 or might have like a 4060, 4070, or like me, a 4090, it looks like now is actually the time to maybe make a partition on your PC and try and get this installed. And obviously there are benefits outside of using the SteamOS UI, because you can just do that on a PC right now. If you use big picture mode, it basically turns your PC into a little bit of a Steam Deck. But the other benefit is games like Elden Ring and a million others, like maybe even Dead Space Remake, you'll get a lot better performance when you're using this little flavor of SteamOS, because there's no stuttering with PC games on SteamOS for some reason. Like all this stuttering that you run into because of CPU issues basically has to do with Windows, it seems, because if you play Elden Ring on the Steam Deck, it's basically a stutter-free experience. But if you've been playing Shadow of the Erdtree over on your main gaming PC, you'll probably see very quickly that not only have they not fixed the stuttering that was plaguing the game when it initially came out, all the updates that they brought along with the new DLC and the new map and everything like that has increased the stuttering pretty close to tenfold. So if you have a PC, whether it's AMD or NVIDIA, I think now is definitely the time to install Bazzite. I think this will provide a really good experience, and it's finally at a point where for someone like me, you know, someone who's a little technical but not necessarily the most tech savvy person out there, like I don't fully understand everything that's in these change logs and everything like that, it finally seems like it's at the point where it'll be at maximum a 30-minute to 1 hour headache versus something that you're going to spend your entire night on. And nothing is worse than sitting down at the end of the day saying, oh, I've been wanting to install Bazzite for a little bit, let me mess around with that, I'll get that done and start playing some games, and then looking at the watch and it's like 2 in the morning and you just got to go to bed, and you probably didn't get the whole operating system installed because it ran into some error. It seems like it's a lot easier now, and over on the Nerd Nest podcast, we've talked about this a lot because Rich from Fan the Deck, who I mention in every video now, he's the one who told me about this, so that's why I've been keeping my eye on it. And yeah, I'm calling the green light. It's time to maybe install Bazzite on your PC, whether or not you have an AMD card, which is awesome. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you today in this Steam Deck update. Make sure you let me know what you think down in the comments below. Remember to subscribe and set your notifications to all if you haven't already. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and shape on.